So, hello everyone at Booster Universe. Today I'm like a child in a candy shop because I have butterflies in my stomach. I'm here with no one else than Bruce Lipton.
Who?
That's you.
Oh, me. Oh, okay.
Hello.
Hello, Kenny.
I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you.
I appreciate the opportunity talking with you, but more importantly also to talk with the audience.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the future is in their hands. And I think we have some important information to talk about how people can create a different future that we need right now.
Exactly. So I want to change the world with my team through positive media. But I've seen some of your videos. And in the beginning, when you did something that was against the community that you were brought up in, the scientific community, I understood on the videos that you had some challenges and maybe a little bit of a resistance.
A lot of resistance, yeah.
So what is your advice to someone young, new, or someone who thinks differently?
Well, I'm very happy if there are people thinking differently, because if we keep thinking the same, that's where the problem comes from. So the only way out of this problem is to have different thoughts. They say, think outside of the box. Right. The answers are not in the box. The box is where the problems come from. So the only way out is to get outside and say, is there other ways? Is there something different? Is there something new? Because if we follow the same path, we're going extinct right now at a very fast rate. People think, oh, extinction might be 1,000 years. I say, no, how about decades?
Right.
Decades.
Right. So, no, but one of the things is that you sit at a dinner party and you tell people what you do. And I say, I want to change the world. And a lot of people say, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Is that what, I mean, now when you're established, I suppose that you have
overnight success, 35 years.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So my idea is that
yes.
This can maybe be futuristic or new age for a lot of people, but I want to bring this out to the masses.
Yes.
To people who are maybe struggling or having some difficulties in their life. And how do we bring it down so that more people understand epigenetics and that we are master of our own faith?
Well, what you're doing is how we bring it down, because knowledge is power.
Right.
Okay? And as I say, I'll say the same thing in a different way. Mm-hmm. A lack of knowledge is a lack of power. Right. And so the media and what you're doing, Kenny, to me this is the most helpful part, is we must provide people with new knowledge, because the knowledge that we've been working with is defective, and it's expressed. Look at the world. We're creating a defective world. We live by wrong theories. And we buy these theories as truth, and we live by them. I say, yeah, but they're wrong. And if you live by them, then we end up with the problems we have. And it's interesting, because you have to challenge the existing people, because they're in the control. And I said, well, what are they doing with this control? And I said, well, we're going extinct. Yeah. How's that? I go, so it's time for new thinking, the way out is new ideas. If you keep the same ideas, we're in the same place. We will never get out of here alive.
Exactly.
And the reality is we need to change who we are to change what the world is.
So your advice to normal people, everyday people that are not into maybe trying to change the world, but just living their lives, is they can also change the world by having a different mindset.
Well, absolutely. The years ago when they had what were called hippies, okay, there was a very famous phrase, and it said, before you change the world, change your own backyard. And that means really, I want to change the world, but if I don't change myself first, then I'm not useful to the world. In fact, this is when I was first trying to tell people about the new biology. The new biology is very empowering information. And when I understood the mechanism of it, I got so excited, because I realized, my God, you're creating this life, and you can change this creation. I was so excited because I wanted to tell everybody. So I bring a few people into a room and I say, let me tell you about this new science, because if you understand this new science, you can create the most wonderful life. And that audience early on would look at me and they go, Lipton, your life doesn't look that good for a guy who says you know this. And it was a shock to me because there's a phrase, and I'm glad I never said it, but the phrase is, do as I say, not as I do. And I didn't say it, but it hit me at home and said, how can I go out and talk about the science, because it was facts,
Right.
without doing it myself? And I realized, okay, I can't go out and talk to the public. I must first take the knowledge that I think is so powerful, make it part of my life. And as soon as I did that, I'd bring a group in and they say, okay, tell us what you're doing, because they could feel there was something different going on.
Exactly.
And so the idea is this: there's a conscious mind, which is the one connected to our identity, our spirituality. That's creative. And there's the subconscious mind, which is programs. And a lot of people think the subconscious is like with Freud, oh, evil, evil. I go, no, the subconscious is a recording device, just like a CD recorder. Here's a CD recorder. Is it good or evil? Well, the machine, it's not good or evil. The programs can be good or evil. And so I'll give you a good program, because both of us here are not young kids right now. I say, when did you learn how to walk? You said before 2. Are you still walking?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank goodness. What? You know what? You got that program, and you got it too, and you could be 100 years old, you're still going to be walking. So the subconscious, wow, that's great. You know, it knows how I do my job, it knows how I work, it knows I can learn how to operate things by, like a car. I don't have to think about it.
No.
It's a habit.
Yeah.
Okay? So the issue is this: we are living by the habits, we're not living by the creative mind.
Exactly.
And I said, well, when did the habits come in? When did we get habits, and why? I'll give you an answer, and the answer is simple. I get you a brand new computer. We open it up. I push start. It boots up. And that's the operating system. But now I say, okay, do something. Spreadsheet, draw, write. Oh, no, you can't do that. I say, why? You didn't put a program in the machine. Okay? If you put a program in the machine, then you can use the computer. Well, when a child is being developed as a fetus, the brain has got an operating system. But until you put programs in the operating system, it's not useful. So the first 7 years of a child's life, the brain is not in consciousness, a higher vibration. It's in download. It looks at the mother, the father, the family, the community, observes them like a video recorder, and the behavior that they watch now becomes programs. So I said, well, then guess what? The programs in your subconscious mind didn't come from you. They came from watching other people. Well, if their life has a problem, guess what? You downloaded the problem. And also recognize this: you have a wish that you want for your life, they have a different wish. So if you're operating from their program, you can't get your wish.
It's become very clear for me over the past year as I got to know your ideas.
Yes.
And one of the things that I've discussed with like-minded people is that we should, because we're business people, in the way we're thinking, okay, so where do we learn how to reprogram? And one of the things you've said earlier is that you just have to repeat the behavior.
That's one of the ways.
Yeah.
One of the ways.
Could you maybe give the viewers everything has to be easy these days.
Okay.
So an easy way to reprogram your mind or your program.
Okay. The conscious mind, as I said, was creative. So I could read a self-help book, I could watch a video, I can go, aha, I just changed my conscious mind. Subconscious mind is a habit mind, so it doesn't learn the same way, and that's where the problem comes from, because people read all the books and they do all this stuff, and if you give them a quiz, they say, oh, yeah, I know everything, but my life is not working. No. I say, because that's how we educate the conscious mind. But 95% of your life is not coming from conscious mind, it's coming from the subconscious mind, the program. Right. And so that means that your life is not coming from your creative wishes and desires, it's coming from whatever you learned from other people. And I said, well, I want to change the program. I say, oh, well, you have to change it in the way the subconscious mind learns. It doesn't learn in the same way the conscious mind learns. So I say, well, there are 3 fundamental ways of how to change the subconscious. And I say, well, in the first 7 years of your life, you learn because the brain was operating at a low vibration called theta. When they put wires on a person's head, electroencephalograph, they read the vibration. Consciousness is a high vibration. Theta is a low vibration. and it's hypnosis. And a child up through age 7 is operating. There's another character. Theta is imagination. And this is why kids like under 7 can mix the real world and the imaginary world. They pour nothing from the teapot into a cup. They drink the nothing and they go, oh, that was the best tea I ever had. That's theta,
right.
Okay?
Yeah.
I go, so that's character of a child, but theta is hypnosis. What does it mean? Everything they see, everything they observe is going straight down into the subconscious. Not the conscious mind, it's not working fully,
no.
Okay? So I say the first 7 years is download a program. And a little sidebar, it's an interesting point. For 400 years, the Jesuits have told people, give me a child until it is 7 and I will show you the man. This is the most important point because they even knew the year, 7. Yeah. 7 years is the period where you download. And then we find out 95% of your life comes from that program. So they were the ones that said, if I can educate your first 7 years, 95% of your life is going to come from everything I just programmed. So they control your life. And they told people this for 400 years and people didn't understand. My goodness, if whoever gives you the education in the first 7 years is going to control the rest of your life until you change the program, okay? So we go back. First 7 years, education is just download. I observe, I watch, and whatever I see, like a recorder, now is a program. So the programs in your subconscious didn't come from you. They came from watching other people,
yeah.
Okay? And then I say, yeah, but after 7, you still learn things like you could play a music instrument, but you had to practice. You want to drive a car? Well, you can learn that, but you have to practice driving the car. Anything that requires a new skill, you practice. Well, what is practice? Making a habit. So driving a car today, when you first got in the car, it was like, oh my God, there's gauges and windows and mirrors and engine sounds, pedals on the floor. So much, okay? Now you know how to drive, you practice. Guess what? You get in the car, you put the key in, you don't even think about it.
No.
It's automatic.
Exactly.
Okay? So subconscious, once it learns, now we have automatic behavior, walking, driving the car. So I say, well, before age 7, program from hypnosis. After age 7, you repeat something you want. You want to change your life? Well, repeat a new way of life. I love, there's new age phrase. You ready?
Yes.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, I know that one.
Okay, so let's say you're not a happy person and you're living in, and you're not happy. And I say, well, so what do? I say, all day long when you think, you repeat, you go, I am happy, yeah. I am happy. And right in the middle of you're miserable, I say, I don't care, I am happy. You repeat it because that's a habit.
Exactly.
You repeat it at a certain point, one day you wake up, and guess what? You don't have to repeat it. Now it's a habit. You wake up happy.
Yeah.
And so you want to change your life, you have to create a new behavior. And it's not sticky note on the refrigerator. That's a suggestion.
Yeah.
A habit is a repetition.
You have to believe it.
You have to do, and you have to repeat it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's number 2.
So you were talking about the 3 things, and we got the first 2. The third thing you can do is...
It's a new kind of psychology. It's called energy psychology. And what it really is connected to is something called super learning. What's super learning? I say, maybe you see someone read a book, move the finger down the page. As fast as they move the finger down, they read all of the words on the page. Well, that's super learning, okay? And I go, if you use that process, you can change a belief you've had your whole life in minutes, less than maybe 10 minutes in some cases, okay? So it's like, wow, this is what we need now because the world is in crisis because of our behavior, and the only way out is to change the behavior. So nature has given us a very fast way, energy psychology. And there are many different versions of energy psychology. Let me just suggest very quickly, my website, very simple, brucelipton.com. Under resources, I have 25 different versions of energy psychology. So if you want to see a way of changing your belief very quickly, check out the resources on brucelipton.com. And you can find these ways where, because we can change our beliefs now, we don't have to work so hard. And I love it because I needed that myself. I wouldn't have been able to even write my book if I didn't change my beliefs.
My second last question would be, what do you do? Do you use the power learning, because I know you're only human, so maybe you also have things you want to change?
Oh, I absolutely did. I'll tell you, as my book started, if you would have asked me years ago, who do you want to be? I say, anybody but me, okay?
Yeah.
If you ask me that right now, I want to be me.
Yeah.
Because I love my life.
Yes.
But I've changed it. I've changed it so much. And it was interesting. I was married, it didn't go very well. And after I got a divorce, and I said, I don't want to go through the emotion of doing that again. So I said to myself, 17 years, actually mantra, every day when I would shave, I'll never get married again. I'll never get married again. And so for 17 years I would say that. And I would go out with some people, but I would say, look, we're just going out for fun.
Yeah.
You want a relationship? I'm not a relationship person. And then I met my partner, Margaret, and we both knew about subconscious programs. So I said, you create the honeymoon when you stop playing the program, because then you were the one that is creating your life from wishes and desires, conscious mind. But at some point, the programs come back in when you start thinking. But since we both knew about the programs, here's a problem. If you don't know about the programs, then a couple gets into arguments over the behavior.
Exactly.
Okay? But if you know that the program is causing the problem, it's not me, it's my program. Then all of a sudden it takes away the anger and all that, because it's like, it's not me, I'm playing a program, I don't even see it, but you see it. And so we started to recognize that if we see the program show up and it's not really a good program, we could stop and say, look, you hear this program? This is not good. With no fight, no argument, because it wasn't coming from me, it was coming from subconscious. And then what we do is, we use like one of the energy psychology, change that program. Well, after a short period of time, by the time all the bad ones came out, guess what? They were all changed. And if you take your wishes and your desires and make those the program, then 95% of the day, without you even thinking about it, your subconscious will seek the wishes and desires that you want. And that's why a guy who didn't believe in love and never wanted to get in a relationship, 22 years of honeymoon, 22 years of waking up every day and saying, oh, I'm the luckiest guy to be alive, I have the most wonderful partner, and I don't know what the world is bringing today, but I'm ready. And it's like, this is not my earlier life.
No.
I had to go change my own program. So when I speak about this, it's not like, oh, I read it in a book and let me tell you about it. It's like, no, my life was not that good. And now I would not change my life for any other life.
Thanks for sharing that wonderful story. I really appreciate it. That was a good one.
Well, it's fun because I'm so excited because I know the difference from before to now. And if people would know that, it's like, just imagine waking up every day and going, oh, I'd love to be here.
And that takes me to my final small question.
Okay.
And what would be, do you have a message to the world knowing what you know now?
A small question, big answer.
Exactly.
The answer.
I was up all night contemplating this one.
The answer is simply this: the world is not working right, but it's humans that are creating this problem. And if we all woke up, just imagine if everyone was in love, and every day they woke up and they said, "I love to be here," then all the relationships we have would be based on love. Love is peace, love is harmony, love is living in nature and balance. And yet we wake up, we're angry and we're upset and we're afraid and we're doing this. I say, if that's how you start the day, the rest of it can't be that good after that, you know? And the idea is, well, I know personally because I was part of the regular thinking and regular job mentality. And the only way I could do it was like you. I had to one day say, this job does not provide happiness. It doesn't provide love. And it's very important because I talk about the honeymoon effect. And when I talk about that, I usually use like couples falling in love. But let me tell you, you don't need to be in love with a person for honeymoon effect. Honeymoon effect means you are doing something you love to do. That when you wake up, it's not a burden, it's not a job. I'm working up to do what I want to do. And all of a sudden, it changes how you live on this planet. So you don't need to fall in love with a person. You could have a honeymoon effect if you're a chef. Oh, I love to cook for people. Oh, well, then you spend all your day creating magic, okay? A gardener goes in the garden and puts their hands in the garden, and they're living in the magic. Or a painter is painting something. And the idea is, find the thing you like to do, and it can become a job. But in that case, it's not a job, because then you wake up because you want to do this.
I do exactly that, and I really, really appreciate your time and all your knowledge. It's been a huge honor for me and a wonderful experience, and thank you for sharing all the personal insights. I think it will make a big difference for the people watching our small contribution to the world. You've been watching Boost the Universe with Dr. Bruce Lipton. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
I want to thank you, Kenny, but I really want to thank the audience, because the answers to the problems and issues of life are coming from that audience. They are the cultural creatives that will make a difference. So my deepest appreciation to everyone out there, because when we all start living in love every day, then heaven is here. You don't die, it's here right now.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.